These are my camp drawers. They're super easy to build and don't require any drilling into the truck bed, which was goal number 1. They work really easy, they stay in place, and they do not move around when the truck is in motion. So follow along if you're interested to build your own. So here's the plan. We use these bins for storing all of our camp gear. And then we've got the cooler, and I don't know if you could see back there, but there's a battery bank sitting back there under the solar panel being charged up. So we want those 2 sets to be on their own drawers. So that's what I'm working on. So I previously made a set, but they got damp and one of them started to get moldy. But I didn't do a great job in the build, so it's falling apart, it's ripping, so I'll have to reinforce the front. But I don't want to drill this in. Like, I want it to be a no drill. I don't want to do like the decked things that you see people do, where they drill it into the truck bed. You can just do flat bins, then pull it on the truck bed, but with the truck bed coating, it actually doesn't slide super well. And these are called high molecular weight plastic. It's the same thing you see used to make table saw crosscut sleds. It's really slick. You'll actually see on competitive rock crawlers, they have these on their skid plates to slide over rocks. So it slides really well, even on the truck bed coating. The idea will be the one bin here on the right will have the cooler and the battery bank and maybe a few other things. And then on this side, it will be these bins. And if we're really lucky, there will be enough slop in one of them that we could put our camp chairs to. One of the problems when you're not using the drawer slides is if there's anything that you try and store over here, it prevents you from easily sliding it out and back in. So we'll be trying to avoid that. We've got the plywood, let's get cutting. So to start, I'm gonna start by cutting out 3-inch strips and leave enough in each sheet of plywood to make the bottom. Table saws are scary, man. Okay, let's be smart about this. Make it easier to work with. Let's cut it down to about 5 feet. This will be a lot easier to work with. Got to get this one to 18 inches. So it is currently at 30. So that means we have to cut off 12, right? Let's go to 12 and go back 1/8 of an inch. There we go. For some reason, the riving knife wasn't playing nice. All right. Gotta plug it back in because I unplugged it while I was messing with the saw blade. Always a good idea. Okay, so let's check it out. It fits pretty well. Back here, we've got about 1.25 inches of a gap. We needed 3/4 of an inch, so we've got about 1/2 inch of slop between them, which will make sliding them in and out easier. It fits perfectly. In the original version, I used that cargo bar to hold them down in the back, but I'm looking, and I think I can just use where that bungee cord goes in, pull that screw out, and I can actually just bolt something in. It'll be a little bit sturdier, and when you're bouncing around down the trail, that keeps the back end down. And then what I'll be doing for the front is I used a bit of this foam mat for like workshops or gyms and such, and it just presses up against the tailgate and kind of holds everything tight. It worked really well. So I'm excited to have the full length drawers. And so now I just have to cut it down to length. And then the other thing we'll have to do is, seeing how this is kind of all falling apart, we'll have to polyurethane it so it doesn't rot like this one did. And then we'll also reinforce this probably with some angle brackets to hold it in place. Give it a little chop, then they'll be perfectly even here at the end. There we go. Nice and straight. And now we go flip it around. Now we'll remeasure. Nice. And this is one of those that becomes important to which side of the line you cut. Let me just pull you off and show you. It becomes important to which side of the line you cut, because I want to keep this half, which is 2 feet. And so when you bring this down, it shows you where it's going to cut. I want my tick to be on the right edge of that blade. So that's what you're watching me, while you're seeing me bring the saw down, back up, and back down, and back up. Because I'm trying my darndest to get it fairly perfect. Cool. Alright, check it out. That's roughly what we're gonna get. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm using this as a story stick, so I know where to put the screw. Makes it way easier than just kind of like, oh, I think it's here.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's massive.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah, definitely have to put a handle on it. 2, actually.
2 handles.
Yeah.
Takes up more space, so I don't know what happened here. I don't know if it's like horribly unsquare, so I'm just gonna put this edge piece on and the other edge piece on, and then measure this center piece and then go cut it from some of the leftovers. Could just kind of be done here and it'll be good enough. I don't really love this sound of it grinding, so I am going to put the plastic on it and be happy. So using the old one as an example, you can see I've got the high molecular weight plastic there. It rides against the wheel well. And then, if you notice, it's not actually that far off the ground or off the truck bed. And that's because I put the high molecular weight plastic so that they sit into these channels. It also kind of holds it in place. And then just kind of slides out. Actually, you should check to see if I need to get slightly thicker plastic, because it looked like the plastic wasn't touching the truck bed. So let's see. Okay, so it needs to be closer to a ½ an inch. Good morning. I'm gonna get to painting these and get them nice and waterproofed so that they won't rot and fall apart this time. First one in. The little spacers are doing their job, keeping the tracks or the slides off. Slides really well, as you can see. And I guess that one kind of acts like a stop, which is, the back one kind of acts as a stop, so it won't get pulled out so far that it'll flip forward, which I guess is pretty helpful. There we go. Time to build the other one. We're going to take the rest of this aluminum bar from the camper shell build and attach it back here where those bolts are to hold the back of these drawers down. So let's get to measuring it and cutting. So when measuring the 115 this has to be, I measured how much offset this ended up being, and I accounted for that in the neck cut. So instead of cutting straight to 115, I'll cut back a little bit to account for the bend here. Let's see, did my adjusting to account for it work? It is a smidgen less than 115. We'll see how it does. I can always space it out with a washer. That was surprisingly easy. Okay, let's see if I can get this one in. Here. Man, I leave this thing out for one day and we've already got bird poop and leaves everywhere. Grab some shorter screws somewhere. Let me see what I've got in my collection. If I knew where my collection was. Let's see what we can find. Looks like roughly the same diameter, but shorter. Let's try this one. There we go. So the reinforcement's mostly important on this one, because this one will carry the big heavy battery and the cooler. Once again, saved by this random assortment of bolts. Gosh dang it. There we go. And we'll take all of these and just put them in the bin, because they will become helpful at some point in the future, I know it. Alright, off camera, I ended up putting a piece of 2x4 here. I'll end up painting it, and that'll just keep it from bouncing around and losing everything that goes in it. So all that's left is put the foam on the front and convert this into camping mode. So it's pretty simple. I'm just going to use some of this floor foam mat, and that will kind of create a buffer to the front gate here. And this stuff is really easy to work with. It's just EVA foam. If you've ever heard people talk about EVA for like working on costume stuff, it's the same stuff. It actually paints really well, and you can actually smooth it out with heat. Pretty fun and easy stuff to work with. So let's see, we've got that. Cool, that was kind of just the plan. Okay. Did I actually make it perfect height? I kind of did. Awesome. All right. What we'll try today is maybe we'll just see if we can screw it in. So let's try and start one, see how it plays. It will honestly probably rip off in the future. I hot glued the previous one, which I was actually quite surprised it stayed. There we go. Maybe, I guess it doesn't really matter so long as it doesn't end up caught on anything. Put one more in the middle here. There we go. Let's see. We'll toss all of this in here. See how it looks. See if it actually shuts and holds itself tight. Well, it's nice and tight. It's a little tighter than I would have liked, but oh well. Not gonna complain too much. Let's see. And this one will just be the full width. That makes it easy. It's really, really tight. But these are not moving. Let's see. So they're hitting first here and barely touching it all up here. Good morning. So I wasn't happy with my work yesterday. That was like the absolute minimum effort for these foam pads. So last night I took them off, went and cut them on an actual cutting mat. I'll probably shave this part down a little bit. It's getting a little tight at a couple of these locations. This little pad actually sticks out way further than anything else. So I'll probably trim what's hitting that so it doesn't go so tight. But close the gate, and now these are going nowhere. All right, time to convert this back into overland mode, get the camper shell and tent back on here, and then fill it up with all the camp gear. Just got back from the first shakedown trip using these drawers, and one thing that happened is these bins just would not stay put. In the previous version I used bungee cords to hold them in place, and it looks like I'm gonna have to do the same here. So we'll do that, and I think I'm going to replace this wall here, make it a little bit taller so it holds the chairs in place, and then we're good to go. The cooler and the battery bank held themselves in place just fine, so it's just these bins need a little bit of reinforcing. All right, pretty simple. I just put a couple of eyelets in with the elastic cord to hold everybody down. They kind of fit together really well on their own. So long as the bottom one stays in place, the top one will stay in place. And then I used just basically some faceplate trimming or some edge band trimming to kind of keep it in place at the bottom. And I did get around to putting this bigger piece of plywood on as a wall. So now we're good to go. The chairs stay in place. Everything seems pretty happy. I'll test it on the drive to work tomorrow, but I think that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope this inspired you to make something similar. I'm really glad I didn't have to drill anything into my truck bed, and it survived the trip out to the Old Coast Road in Big Sur, and only got a little dusty because the top is not fully sealed. If you're interested to see what happens over time, like this will grow and age as I find new things I need to add to it. And same for the top, and eventually I've got my trailer to complete. If you are interested in any of that, go ahead and give me a follow. A little sneak peek for my next video is a Dometic-like faucet for your camp kitchen. So give me a follow if you want to see that. Everything will be open source and 3D printable, so you'll be able to build it yourself. Thanks for watching.